There's really no other way to say this, but last year's S20 Ultra was kind of a failure. It wasn't a terrible phone, it just wasn't a great phone considering Samsung was asking a lot of money for it. It was hard to recommend over the S20 or S20 Plus because in some ways the S20 and S20 Plus were better. One specific area was the autofocusing of the camera. It was just terrible on the S20 Ultra, and it's still even not that great today. I think Samsung realized the mistake they made, and with the S20 Ultra, they lowered the price point, offered a good feature set that differentiated itself from the S21 and S21 Plus. Now this is the S21 Ultra, this is the Black Phantom Edition, and as you can see, the box is half the size as what it used to be. Now for those of you who haven't heard yet, just like Apple, Samsung has removed the charging brick and headphones from the box, claiming environmental features, and what you get is a more compact feature set. Now you have the smartphone, which is the Phantom Black, which I think looks absolutely awesome. You have your paperwork with your SIM tool, and inside, for now, you still get a USB Type-C charging cable. Now design has always been subjective. You might love the look of something and I might detest it, but that's okay. You know, if everything was the same, it would be a very boring world to live in. I will say this though, I do love the way this phone looks. It's one of my favorites. And it's not like Samsung did anything crazy to make it look different. All they did was blend the left and top portions of the camera into the phone. And this just looks very futuristic. It reminds me of a camera that was retrofitted into the device, like a crazy cool camera, like a cyborg, like something that should be in the game Cyberpunk, like kind of that idea, right? But you will get a bit of thickness on the right-hand side. Now, you don't touch this ever because your hand is always at the lower end of the device. But when you do look at it, it does look like a thicker smartphone on the top. In terms of weight, it's pretty heavy, you know, a little bit heavier than the iPhone 12 Pro Max, but not by much. And the battery in here is massive. 5,000 milliamp hours. I'm expecting this device to last up to 2 days, especially with the efficiency improvements they made in software. No micro SD card slot, which is very strange because Samsung's always included it on their devices, and this goes for the S21 and S21 Plus too. If you want a lot of storage, the only device that you can get 512 gigabytes is the S21 Ultra. The crazy thing is the Ultra comes with 12 gigabytes of RAM or 16 if you buy the 512 gigabyte model. The other two only come with 8. Now personally, I don't think this is a big deal. As long as there's 8 gigabytes of RAM inside of your phone, I don't feel like you're gonna have that much of a difference in terms of performance. The display on this though, man, gorgeous. Every year Samsung continues to push the bar with their dynamic AMOLED displays, and this one is just mwah. 1500 or 1600 nits of peak brightness. Like you might be stuck in your house, but just bump up the brightness on this, sit in a lawn chair and get a tan, you know? Like this is just bright. And you compare that with the dark, deep blacks, it's just a monster for media consumption. Now, the one thing I don't like is the curved edges. You know, it's better than the Note 20 Ultra, which to be fair is not that bad, but there's still curved edges. And I feel like this is one area where manufacturers just need to stop doing. Just make a flat display. It's so much easier to type on. Not that this is tough and you can kind of circumvent that with a case, but there's no need for it. It really doesn't provide any benefits whatsoever. The other cool thing is that Samsung has created their first Quad HD display with 120 Hertz refresh rate. You're not gonna be able to get this with the S21 or S21 Plus. It only comes with the Ultra. Now, when you first start up your phone, it will be set to Full HD Plus and you have to manually change it to QHD Plus. But it is using a different style of 120 Hertz. It's not on by default all the time. It's adaptive. So if you're staring at your screen at a picture, it might ramp down to, let's say, 10 Hertz. But as soon as you start scrolling through a web page or perhaps playing a game that can support a higher refresh rate, the refresh rate will go up with it. So the good thing is you get 120 Hertz, but you're also saving battery because it's changing the refresh rate depending on what you're doing. So the biggest upgrade about this device, and I mean more so than the camera and the hardware and everything, is this. Watch, you ready for this? I hope you're sitting down. Here we go. Boom. You see how I just swiped to the right and I did not get Bixby? Bixby is gone from that portion or the left-hand side of your phone. And what you get instead is Google pre-installed. I love that, man. Like, I've been wanting that to come back for some time. I was sick of installing launchers. The fact that it's here makes me so happy inside. Now, obviously this is coming with the latest Snapdragon 888 or Exynos 2100, depending on the region you're in. So you can expect this thing to be an absolute monster when it comes to performance. So the biggest deal is the camera. This is one area Samsung has to redeem themselves because the S20 Ultra was kind of poor. They brought back the 108 megapixel lens, a slightly better version of it. This is your wide lens. There's a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and then you have two types of zoom lenses. You have a 3x telephoto lens, and then a periscope lens that goes behind the bottom portion of the bump. Now this is interesting because most other smartphone manufacturers will include a depth sensor to help with depth information when doing portrait shots, but that's not here. So I'm kind of interested how this plays out compared to other smartphones. I will say this though, thank God they have a laser autofocus on the back because this is gonna help with focusing. Now the crazy thing is, if you buy the S21 Ultra, you get a 40 megapixel front-facing camera. That's a lot of information for your face. Video got a nice update too. You can now record 4K 60 on all of the lenses. So if you're using a feature like Director's Cut where you're switching back and forth between different lenses on the go, you can keep a consistent 60 frames per second. This is gonna make your life so much easier if you're slowing down footage in post-production because all of your frame rates are gonna be the same. So two things. One, fingerprint scanner, so much better. I was never a fan of the ultrasonic on the previous few generations. I found the surface size to be too small and very inaccurate to log in. Now they increased the surface size about 1.8 times bigger, and man, it's just accurate all the time. Doesn't matter if you leave the display off or if you tap it first, you're in. Secondly, the ability to use the S Pen with the Ultra. This is exclusive to the Ultra only. And I thought about this. First, I'm like, why would they even do that? If you want to use the S Pen so badly, just buy a Galaxy Note phone. There's a place to store it. You'll never lose it. But then I thought about it, and I think most people are not gonna go out and buy the optional S Pen accessory. But this is a good feature for those of you out there who already have a tab, who have an old Note lying around, and still like to use the S Pen every once in a while. All those S Pens or S Pen that you do currently own will work with this. So here's the bottom line. The S21 Ultra is looking really nice this year, and I can't wait to fully put it through its paces. I'm kind of concerned about the S21 and S21 Plus because they removed a few things, but I feel like this is a really well packaged device. And when you start like trading in your phone and then getting the $200 off accessories or from Samsung, this ends up being really affordable for a lot of people, assuming you live in the United States. Now, if you have any questions for my full review, make sure to leave them in the comment section down below. Subscribe to the channel to see that, like the video if you like it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.